He's one of the youngest members of a badminton team that's about to compete on the international front. But he's always harbored a dream of becoming a comic book artist.
People with disability usually have a story to tell.
He wants to tell the world his story, and he's working hard to make that dream come true.
My name is Akram. I am Team Singapore badminton player.
In a nation of go-getters, 6 individuals are faced with the challenge of managing their disabilities.
There is more that I can give, special in my own way. I'm not a hero or an inspiration.
Each charged with a brimming passion for life and the optimism that they too can achieve their dreams, just like you.
You see what I can do. I'm just like you.
And disability is more of like my lower limbs. So as you can see, it's a bit like our position, and have a bit on my fingers. I'm like a short person, so I cannot grow tall.
Akram was born prematurely with a genetic mutation that causes dwarfism.
My upper body is heavy, so like my lower limbs can't really like support my weight. Instead of having 2 bones down here, right, I have 1 bone, so maybe that's also contribute to my leg being weak.
The condition causes poor bone development, resulting in deformity in his lower limbs.
At that time, my mother had a high fever, so she did a early birth.
At first, I didn't know that he was disabled actually. After my parents brought me to the hospital to see him, then I know that he actually is born that way lah.
Actually, I went through numerous operations on my lower limbs. Since primary school, I've been having operations on my leg, trying to fix the position leg or something.
Akram's parents knew their son had a tough journey ahead, but they were determined to help him lead as normal a life as possible.
They don't really talk about his disability. They were quite quiet about it lah. But they show love towards him.
Don't let your disability be something that holds you back from doing what you want. That's what always my parents advises me.
The only son in a family of 3 children, Akram's sisters and parents never treated him differently despite his disability, and Akram became more confident and independent.
He doesn't use a wheelchair at home. He moves around the house by sort of dragging and walking at the same time. We treated him like a normal boy. We don't really see it as a disability. Especially my dad, when we were younger, he don't care if he's disabled. He will still get the beating, no special treatment.
My parents are too much my supports, and my sisters are for me to opening up, if I got problems or anything, so I open up to them.
And with his family's unwavering support, Akram is encouraged to chase his dreams.
I'm a very imaginative person. With that imagination, I try to make it into a book or an art. So I wanted to write a story about people with disability. I love actually sharing, about my disability, and also about parts of my life.
When he was a kid, he likes to actually have his own world. You can come up with stories and have this imagination. Where did you come up with all these ideas from?
Akram has always wanted to pen his own comics. This stems from his love of anime and inspiration from a childhood hero.
I started watching animes in primary school. The first anime I watched was Naruto. This Naruto character, right, it really inspires me to be someone outside of my disability, because he also has got a disability, which is having a monster inside him. But yet, he will show people that I may have monsters inside me, but I am my own person.
Beyond cartoon characters, Akram feels there's a greater purpose in drawing comics. He wants to tell the world that people living with disabilities can rise above their challenges.
A few days ago, during the MRT breakdown for the Green Line, right, I was going back. I also go home at around 6 at that time, so the train are actually packed. After waiting for like 3 to 4 trains, right, this group of guys, they saw me outside waiting, then they take the initiative to let me in rather than, giving us a staring contest. I told them it's okay, I can wait for another one. They keep saying, it's okay, you are the priority, you should go in. Because we can wait another train, but for you, the next train you won't be able to board. That moment really touched me. It really shows that the society is more inclusive and aware of us. I really hope that my drawings and my writing of stories would be an inspiration for the public.
But because of his condition, Akram is unable to hold his pen with good control. This has led him to shelve his dream of publishing his own comic.
He's been drawing since young and he stopped because somebody told him his drawing wasn't nice. Yeah, the way it's drawn, it needs help.
Akram has never created a comic strip and doesn't have a clue how to get started. His drawings need a lot more refinement, and unless he gets some guidance, his dream seems impossible.
How do you start planning the comic?
See, I'm not
Not really sure. Okay, okay.
Although he was born with skeletal dysplasia, Akram has learned to live life with a positive attitude. And now, he's trying to make his dream of becoming a published comic artist a reality. The producers of Just Like You have arranged for him to meet comic artist Sunny Liu to get started.
Hello.
Akram,
I'm
Sunny.
Oh, Sunny. Akram.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Sunny is the first Singaporean to win at the Eisner Awards, the Oscars for comics. With 23 years of experience in the comic industry, he's won several international awards and topped the bestsellers lists.
Okay, so I noticed that you have character designs and then you have your story. But have you drawn any comics before?
Comics?
No.
Yeah,
So how would you start your comic? Like, what's the first step you would do to draw a comic?
See, I'm not
Not really sure. Okay, okay. Normally the first step is the planning stage, the storyboarding or the so-called thumbnailing stage.
Thumbnails are early sketches in which comic artists work out the dialogue and action. It is crucial that the artist completes their thumbnails ahead of starting work on the actual comic strip.
This is the first time I ever exposed to this kind, because I thought like drawing comics means like got idea, put story, draw character, that's all. I thought just like that. But actually you do have to have a storyboard, like how do you really want to plan out the scene. So it's really something I really learned today.
I would suggest for your first comic to keep it a bit simpler, right?
I want my comic to be more of like people with disability.
Okay.
Showing their daily life. This is how we feel, this is how we go through every day, so that they are aware of what we experiencing in everyday life.
Okay. Idea and a story, it's hard to, like I say, it's hard to tell at this stage because nothing has been fleshed out yet. That'll be more apparent when you actually see his thumbnails and some of his drawings. Have you drawn yourself before? You want to try drawing? Like if I ask you a drawing now, how would you draw it?
Oh, I really...
Right now his drawings, like the face only has 2 dots and a mouth, there's no nose, for example. Especially for his own character, he's drawing himself, he needs to develop that a bit more to make it clearer who the characters are, they're sort of how they're defined. You should try to draw like what they call turnarounds, in animation. Turnaround is where you see the person from different angles, right? So you have the first step, of course, is the front. Okay, let's say this person from the front. Okay, then you have the side view. Okay, let's say his nose like this. And then you probably have the back view. Okay, it's a very simple drawing. Okay, and then you have the 3/4, which is what you draw just now. Right, 3/4 is sort of the angle. You probably want to have like a close-up, like what they look like in detail, right? Because actually drawing from distance versus close-up, you need a different level of details, lah. What this allows you to do is it creates sort of what they call a visual Bible that you can refer to, so that you don't have to draw the same thing over and over again, every time, right? You really know what he looks like from different angles. And once you have that, right, then I think you can quite easily plan a story and kind of know what everybody looks like.
He recommended me to show more details of maybe the person's clothes or maybe certain characters. After what Sonny taught me today, I'm really excited because I want to really explore what I really want for the story.
Sunny's homework for Akram is to create a visual Bible of his characters and then draw the thumbnails. With this plan, he can start penciling the actual comic strips. While this will occupy a large part of Akram's time, he also has school to juggle. He's pursuing a diploma in multimedia and infocom at Nanyang Polytechnic, a module closely related to his artistic pursuits.
You take a picture, then with Illustrator, you try to make an icon or make something similar by drawing, following the outlines or something. So it's like you can create your own icon. Right now we're only learning the basics, but it helps me with drawing characters.
For me, he's no different from the rest of the students. Because he's very independent, so there's no need for us to especially go and open the door for him or whatever. He's got a few friends who are very helpful, and then they will always be helping him if you have questions.
And his drawings are a reflection of the people he's interacted with, those who have left an impression.
Most of my stories and characters are based on my real-life experience. Sometimes I make a character of my own family, my own friends, and make it into an adventure story.
There's this one incident where we actually wanted to take a bus. So the bus was a wheelchair bus, but apparently the driver said that wheelchairs are not allowed and just drove off. And then we had to wait for the next bus, which is 30 minutes later. When we reached the interchange, I actually confronted the service officer saying that how can the bus just drive away? The bus driver could have waited for us and let us fold up the wheelchairs and stuff. But then he just asked us to just let it go. It still angers me till now lah.
But there are more important things on Akram's mind. He's eager to get down to his task and start drawing.
For a first-timer like me, right, it's very difficult. I look at tutorials and how they draw in different perspectives because you have to really plan. If it's 45 degrees, how is the building supposed to look like, and how the characters, like the face, the drawing of their bodies, parts and all. Especially the inking, right? At first it turned out ugly because wavy lines all over, and my sister suggested for me to use a ruler. And my younger sister actually helped me a lot, drawing the panels and the character using ruler. And I can see it's very neat and much more nicer than the one that I drew.
Akram is ready to send the first sketches to Sunny. While waiting for Sunny's feedback, Akram dives back into his athletic pursuits. He is the youngest member of Singapore's wheelchair badminton team. Today he is doubling up on training as he will be competing at the Asian Youth Para Games in Dubai.
Akram is actually a very outgoing person, outspoken as well, with never give up kind of attitude. This special group, I feel that they are more optimistic comparing to a lot of able-bodied. They could be in very bad shape, but look at all of them, they are playing sports, going to school, going to work and things like that. They are doing things what able-bodied is doing.
When he had his first training, right, he came back demoralized because the people there are 15 years, 20 years veteran. Even though he lost in the first few matches, Yeah, but we still like supported him, like, you know, you can do this. Then slowly like he gained back his confidence and actually started playing again.
They keep telling me like becoming athletes and participate in competitions. That is part and parcel of, you know, taking things to the next level. So they encourage me more.
It is this same encouragement that drives Akram to overcome the difficulties in drawing. Akram gets an email from Sunny, letting him know that his work is now ready to be presented to a publisher. Akram will need to convince potential publishers of the value and quality of his work. But he's worried that his comic is just not good enough.
I really hope that at least there's one or two publishers that's willing to read my story and help me publish it.
Coming up next.
What's the end result you have in mind?
Actually, Sunny, Akram.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
3 months ago, Akram started on his journey to be a comic artist. While he has made improvements to his drawings, his attempts to find a publisher have still been unsuccessful. So far, a few publishers have already rejected him due to the quality of his work. Today he is meeting with Ochre Pictures, a publishing company that specializes in comics.
This way, please.
Akram is noticeably nervous about the prospect of yet another rejection.
What's the end result you have in mind?
Actually,
What size?
what size? Actually,
Akram, he's still not very acquainted with the comics process. So say simple things like thumbnailing before you go into refining the lines and all that. If he understands the process better, he'll be able to hone his craft and also hone his personal storytelling. How many pages do you have in mind?
maybe 8 pages.
So we will classify that as kind of like a zine. Even like the thinnest comic books that we see nowadays, they are maybe like a 64-page. Yeah, and that's very thin.
The reality of creating a comic book is slowly setting in for Akram. And he is beginning to realize how unprepared he is for the project.
The thing about doing a traditional print book is that the process is expensive. So we will always have to be very, very selective when we decide on projects for print. In terms of our own publishing direction, we tend to direct the content and then commission artists to draw for us. So Akram's work, we would consider it definitely like an outlier, but it's a project that we're very happy to support.
Finally, Akram has found a publisher willing to give him a chance.
For Akram's drawing, I feel like what's good is that he tries to have different perspectives in different panels. So I feel like if we flesh this out, it can be a pretty vivid graphic novel.
While there is potential, Akram's drawings need a lot more refinement.
We have to make sure that product that comes out is to the standard, which is something that we can deliver to the printer digitally.
With a sense of direction from the publisher, Akram begins revising his drawings. The publisher makes several edits to his content and cover page, with Akram enduring many long days and sleepless nights. But now, Akram is ready to send his work to the publisher, and he is hoping for good news. Akram finally receives a phone call from Ochre Pictures.
Hello.
His work has received clearance and has been sent for printing.
Thank you.
Today, Akram's family and friends are here to celebrate with him on his big day, the launch of his comic zine. He has chosen to hold this meaningful event at a cafe that supports local artists.
I would like to thank everyone here for coming down. So my zine is titled Akram and Mickey Go Up and Down. So it's basically a story about myself and Mickey, the wheelchair. Both together, me and the chair facing obstacles.
It's difficult for people with certain types of handicap to do literary work, but it's very important for us to maintain inclusivity. And when it comes to telling stories, this is something that anybody and everybody should feel free to pursue.
And his younger sister is an especially big fan of his talent.
He has to juggle school and also doing this comic book. So he usually will stay up late at night to see that what he has drawn is being put inside his zine. I am very proud of that.
I didn't expect all of this to really happen. I thought that publishing is just like a dream.
I do hope to continue to draw and make new stories. With this, I can motivate them to get out of their shells and do whatever they want. Instead of feeling low, instead of feeling self-pity. You might have a disability, but everyone have ability in them to make a difference or do what they like. So don't let disability be something that stops you from doing what you want.